Welcome to Florida Gators Live, episode number 65, presented by FanDuel. And last week, Tyler asked me a quick question on whether I think Florida will be ranked inside of any preseason top 25s, whether the AP poll or, coaches poll or, all of those types of polls. And I pretty confidently gave out an answer no. Well, a day later, 2 days later, I can't remember exactly it came out. On3 went and posted their way too early preseason top 25. And guess who was in there at number 24? It was the Florida Gators.
Yes, yeah.
I thought we'd start out the show talking about that. We're not going to do the segment, but I was just wrong. Completely wrong. And it's a bit surprising.
Yeah, I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Florida sneaks into the 20s at some point, just because I think there is general optimism. I think the Summerall hire was pretty well received nationally. It seems to be I think there's some understanding of the retentions, and I think I think most people expect a relatively quick turnaround here. I'm not saying they're gonna be great, but I don't think anyone really thinks that was a roster that should have gone 4-8 either. So I think that's part of that is just assume and retaining most of those key pieces. But yeah, it's a little surprising to see, just because again, Florida just went 4-8 and there's just so much projection involved. We don't even know who the quarterback's going to be.
No, we don't. I think we know who it's going to be, barring some.
We have a safe guess, but it's not I wouldn't call it an incumbent situation. I think it is a true competition. It's just a competition where one of the guys, I would say, has a pretty clear inside track.
That's fair. Well, we got Kentucky hater here. Tony beat Kentucky. Nothing else.
It's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a tough game.
It may be one of those trap games on the schedule. We'll get into it a bit later in the show when we're going to break down the schedule and, make a bit too early of a picks there, but we're going to do it anyways. And that might be one of the trap games.
I thought he meant basketball.
He might mean basketball.
Oh, yeah.
We don't play Kentucky for.
No, I was not saying I think Kentucky football is going to be a tough game. If Kentucky football is a tough game, I think that we have some issues, but we'll see.
I think because it's on the road, it might be interesting. And I have the schedule right here. I'm just going to pull it up real quick. You have them in between, right after your 3-game stretch of Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma. And then, right before your rivalry against FSU. And, you get Vandy at home. We'll see how good Vandy is. But, it's maybe in an interesting spot right after that Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
That maybe you're overlooking them. And maybe you're physically worn out after playing Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm curious how we get to the point where nothing else matters except beating Kentucky. I know they've kind of had our number for a decent amount of the last few years, but hopefully there's a little bit more that we can do than just beat Kentucky this year.
Yeah, but I guess let's just get straight into our first segment of the show. On3 released their way too early top 25. And this came right after last week's show where I said there was no chance that anyone or, would have us ranked. And then On3 just goes out and puts us Florida number 24. And here's the thing. I can understand it from a roster perspective where going into last year, there are people projecting us to make the playoffs, near that top 10 ranking. And you don't just do that because of one or two players. You do that because the whole roster is put well together. And now DJ Lagway ended up being a pretty big bust last year. And, Caleb Banks was out. But outside of those couple players and you had some bad coaching, I'd say a lot of the outside pieces on the roster played well together. And we retained most, we retained all the players that really were big time factors that weren't going to the NFL draft.
Yeah, and not even losing a lot of guys that were borderline. The guys that are going to the draft are guys that we knew were gone if they even had eligibility left. But yeah, I think that is kind of the key thing because Florida was probably roughly a top 15 talent composite roster last year. Should probably be in that same-ish range again this year.
That's a good question. I'm gonna figure it out real quick.
Because your biggest loss from a talent, a blue chip ratio perspective was Lagway. And I don't think any of us feel like that's the loss that maybe the talent metrics would indicate that it is.
We were 12th.
12th. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's kind of the number I had in my head. So yeah, I mean 12th in raw. I mean, so like obviously this roster underachieved its talent last year. So I think it's a pretty easy. Again, I'm not saying Florida's going to win 10 games, but I think it's a pretty easy like bounce back case to buy that this team can get back to like 8 wins or something at least, just because of the fact that schedule's easier and like again that roster underachieved its talent last year. So hopefully you've got better coaching and development because I mean you just brought in this new staff and that's what they're expected to do. So I think like people generally are believing in the Summerall hire, and I think with just the talent on the roster, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and you bring up the team talent ranking, and I'm looking at it right now. So Auburn was 13th, and Auburn just had a horrible recruiting class. Like, and the portal additions were, G5 guys mostly. Like, Auburn will probably fall down the rankings. And we kept our roster is going to be pretty much similar talent wise. And right below Auburn was Oklahoma, whose ranking was, I think they were one spot ahead of us by like 2 points. Like, I don't think Oklahoma would jump us, and Miami, their ranking was also only like 2 or 3 spots ahead of us. Like, we'll probably stay around 12. I mean, I don't think we'll drop her. I mean, we'll see how it changes, but like, we're going to be around the similar spot we were last year on that team talent ranking. And I mean, Penn State at number 10, they lost a bunch of players and replaced with a lot of ISU players, which, may have good production, but, the team talent.
It's going to sink their talent rating, though. Yeah.
And lost a lot of that to Virginia Tech and brought in players from Iowa State. So, I mean, there's a chance we even jump them. Like, we're going to be top 13, we'll probably say 12 if I had to guess. So, yeah, the roster is still there. The players are still there. It was just, we went 4-8 last year. Like, if you got Lane Kiffin, I think that's a different story. Like, if Lane Kiffin was the coach and, whoever he brought in on the roster, like, then I think I can see the argument for us being like top 15. I mean, On3 has LSU at number 12, which, I understand.
Or sorry, go ahead.
Which, I was just saying, like, I understand why they have them right there at number 12 as the transfer portal class they're bringing in. It's basically a whole new roster at LSU this year.
Yeah.
Besides a couple key pieces.
And that would have been the case if he came to Florida too, I would think. Probably because I think he would be bringing a lot of people as well. I mean, like, yeah, I think LSU is going to be a preseason top 15 team. Like, I think that just is what it is. And I think that probably would also be the case if Lane came to Florida. Just by even if there was less roster turnover, because LSU kind of had to have roster turnover. They had a lot of like 1-year portal rentals or just guys that weren't very good or like guys that are, obviously Nussmeier's moving on. So, I think at Florida, maybe he could have retained the same guys that Summerall retained, and you see a little bit less of that, like massive, like they portaled like 35 guys or something crazy like that. But I still think either way, just the reputation Lane has, they probably would have been top 15. But that is kind of why it's interesting to me that Florida's ranked here, because again, like the Summerall hire, like if you look at grades and stuff, it pretty much always graded out as like a B+ to A kind of range hire. But I think it's interesting to see to see kind of the national perspective on that, because, obviously Florida didn't get the guy that I would say most of the fan base wanted for the majority of the search.
Yeah, Mike here. I may be a little orange and blue glasses, but I'm hoping for 9-3.
And it's doable with the schedule.
Yeah, it is. And it's like this, we're talking about in the preseason here. Like, I mean, we can finish as a 10-win team. Who knows? And that's what we'll, here in the preseason, it's like you're coming off that 8-4 season or 4-8 season. Sorry. And now, how do you do your preseason rankings? I think is a good question. Like, how much value do you put into the roster versus like proven on that team production? Proven coaching is something that matters a lot. Like, if you're just putting together the top 25 rosters, then yeah, Florida's in that top 25.
Yeah.
I mean, like we mentioned earlier, team talent rankings. But if you're putting together, it's a new coaching staff, from the G5 with John Sermon, some Faulkner, Troutman, like other guys obviously weren't G5, but, the head coach from the G5, bringing together a pretty new roster, a bunch of transfers. And I mean, we mentioned we're bringing back a lot of the key players. Like, they were players from a team that went 4-8. And I think a big reason of that was because of coaching and QB play. But still, it went 4-8. There's no excuses for that. It's just plain fact that this roster and bringing back a lot of players that were, they were losing players. Like, they had a losing mentality last year. And that's something that Summerall has to turn around and fix. And you don't know if that will be fixed until you see it happen.
Yeah, and when it comes to rankings, I kind of lean towards the former, where I think you should do rankings based on more on like proven production, roster continuity from the prior season.
Hmm.
Like if I had a ballot, I probably would not rank Florida in the top 25, at least with what we know right now, just because again, like I think it's completely possible. I think Florida could be a team that's like pushing for a playoff berth, even just because I do think the schedule is as manageable as it's been in quite a few years. But that just requires a lot of projection, a lot of
Hmm.
projection about this staff, a lot of projection about Aaron Philo, a lot of projection about, you know, areas of the defense. So like, it's hard for me to say that, even though I think the pieces are there for it to happen.
Now, here's a question. Would you rank FSU in the top 25 like
That's crazy.
USA Today did?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I would say I don't really agree with that. I mean, they probably will be better. I think, but I said that last year, and I guess they technically were better.
Would you
Not
take
as
I mean, yeah. Would you take Castellanos or Ashton Daniels? I would take
I don't know.
Castellanos.
I don't know. I mean, it feels pretty even to me because like Ashton Daniels was an okay starter on a bad Stanford team, which is basically what Castellanos was before he got to FSU. Was an okay starter on a bad team.
I feel like Castellanos was pretty solid last year. And it's just like
I mean, he wasn't the
things around
problem, but
him.
I think once they like, I don't know, he wasn't really able to do much after the first maybe month of the season. Like
Yeah.
I mean, they just were terrible. They fell apart. But I don't know. I could see Ashton Daniels being better. And the other, I mean, people do say like the Malzahn system, you don't really need a great quarterback there. The problem is I don't think they have anything around him anyway still.
No.
I mean, again, you're rolling the dice on the portal again, and maybe you hit and maybe you win 7 games. But like, I think I would be surprised if they're any better than like 7-5.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just USA. I need to know who put that article together, who made that top 25. Like, was that is it RJ Young? Who's a
No, no, no.
I don't think he works for them. I think it's Fox, right?
Yeah, I think he's Fox.
Fox. But I'm pretty sure he's an FSU guy. That's why I'm bringing up his name. But yeah, just putting FSU in the top 25 makes absolute no sense. Like at that point, put Florida top 10. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like because if your hang up on Florida is that they were bad last year, like that's fair, but like so was FSU. So I don't really.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't
FSU was
really understand.
worse. We beat FSU by
Yeah, I
20
mean,
points.
well, Florida had a worse season, but like, yeah, they beat them on the field like easily. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one game difference, but like, look
But
at FSU's
the SEC
losses.
versus the ACC. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think you could argue it's about the same, if not
we both
maybe.
had one great home win, like,
Yeah, it's true.
and then we beat them
That
by
is
20. I
still
don't,
unbelievable to me that this team beat Texas this year with how many
and
like
that team beat Alabama.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that one's a little more understandable because that was week 1. Like how this team beat Texas in like week 4 or whatever that was, week 4 or 5. Like I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. But no, it's gonna be a long time until we even get to the preseason, official season 1, season 0 week 0. Sorry, top 25 by the AP, and we know those rankings don't really mean anything, compared to the playoff rankings. But it's still nice to look at and see what the rankings are going to be. And hey, maybe the Gators will be ranked inside the first AP poll, which would be a bit wild because in the last 5 years we've only been ranked inside of it once, and it was last year. So it would be very interesting to see if that were to happen. But no, I mean, we're still a long way from the season. Fortunately, I mean the season just ended last week, so
I know.
it's gonna. I mean, this is the dead period for fans.
And it's going to be even more dead because I mean, we'll have spring ball, but like, I mean, again, we'll see what actually happens, but like theoretically, there shouldn't be much movement after spring ball
Yeah,
because there's no transfer portal window. So like, there's not even going to be like another round of roster acquisition for us to kind of latch onto. Like we're kind of just in the wilderness now. Other than getting some spring practice clips and stuff in the next, which not too long, like a little more than a month out, right?
yeah. March. It starts in March,
Mm-hmm.
and then the spring
First,
game.
second week of March. Yeah.
And then I had the schedule right here actually. Um, yeah, March 3rd. So we're a month and a week away basically
Yeah.
from spring practice, and then hopefully the spring game is aired on TV.
I know. Yeah, I mean, they really have no reason not to do it anymore. Like, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and like the only
Mhm.
reason they would not air it now is if they just decided they don't feel like dealing with it because they didn't do it, and they're like, actually, that was fine. But that'd be
Yeah,
lame.
it's going to be because it also gives you a bit more to talk about, and I wonder if that will play into a factor with preseason rankings. Like it's a spring game, but
Yeah,
like if it's clear that Philo or Jones have like taken a step above the other one, and it's like they're making good connections with like the receivers, like, and the offense is looking to the point where you have ball. Everyone knows ball's proven. If one of the two QBs are separating themselves with this, very talented wide receiver room, then I think you can start making a bit of an argument that Florida, maybe should be ranked inside of the preseason poll.
yeah. I mean, we'll see. I'd be a little bit surprised if you see that kind of separation in spring, like just especially in the spring games, because I feel like the spring games are always just designed to make quarterbacks look good. Like, I mean, he didn't last year. Didn't Harrison Bailey light it up last year
Well,
statistically?
Bailey threw for a lot of yards, but he also had 2 picks in that game.
Did he? Okay.
And, I mean, he was basically just throwing to Dallas Wilson simulator.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, you
True.
look at how our secondary was last year, really outside Devin Moore and Dijon after he got hurt. Like,
True.
I see why he was able to cook in that game. And I don't even think Dijon played in the spring game, if I remember, or Devin Moore. So,
Mhm.
maybe it's a sign. It's a bad sign if the secondary is getting cooked.
Yeah, I mean, that probably should have been a little bit more concerning. Like the fact that the true freshman receiver going for 250 yards or whatever he did, maybe should
Yeah.
have been a little more concerning than because we were all just like, yeah, Dallas, let's go. Maybe that should have been a little bit of a warning sign.
What's up, Jackson? I mean, maybe, but it's also like then Dallas went for 120 or something against Texas in his
Yeah,
first game.
true. Although, how good was Texas's secondary?
How good was it? I mean,
I don't think it was awful, but I'm not sure it was great
it
either.
wasn't like it was worse than the year prior, but like it was still better than ours.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, here from a comment here from Mike. One of the most interesting and critical things will be the QB battle between Philo and Tramel Jones.
Yeah.
And don't count out Will Griffin's
Will
from
Griffin's
not
from
from
like or Melbourne or Cocoa or something like that, right? Am I
is
wrong
that from
about that?
Tampa?
Or
Wait,
is he from Tampa? I don't know why I thought he
wait.
was from like the
Yeah,
West
he's from
Coast.
Tampa. Yeah, he's
Okay,
from yeah,
I made that
Jesuit.
up. Okay.
Jesuit.
He's not gonna be a factor,
No.
I don't think.
There's always that little like romanticizing of the freshman player, or especially of a
Yeah.
quarterback, especially when your QB play has been poor. So
Mhm.
it's like there's that bit of a romanticize about the freshman QB who can go in there and turn things around. But yeah, I wouldn't expect to see much of Will Griffin year one because one, I think Philo is gonna be that guy. I think he's gonna be pretty dang good. And two, I think Griffin's like not the best. We'll see. Like I like
Yeah.
some aspects of his game, but like especially year one, he's not gonna be ready.
I'm not gonna say I've watched enough of Will Griffin to have like a strong opinion on it, but I mean, look, Philo's the guy you're paying a lot of money to. I'd assume you're also paying. I mean, for Trammell to not hop in the portal, I'd assume he's getting a decent amount of money as well.
I'll say QBs. So like even Will Griffin for someone. So Will Griffin's ranked 223rd in the composite.
Hmm.
He's making a lot more money than you'd think for someone to rank 223rd. Like
I mean,
all
it's not surprising.
QBs,
The QB
it's
market
QB.
is in a crazy spot right now.
And I think we're going to talk about it a bit later on with our recruiting weekend because we had a couple QBs on campus and some wide variety of rankings there. But
Hmm.
it's the QB market's very interesting. And you look at this year's playoffs where Carson Beck versus Fernando Mendoza also had Trinidad Chambliss and Dante Moore, all 4 transfer QBs. And I mean, Dante Moore was an interesting story, different story. It was a 5-star. But the other 3, one was a D2 transfer for Trinidad. Fernando Mendoza was a 2-star, and Beck was a mid to high 4-star transfer from Georgia. Like none of them were 5-stars besides Dante Moore, who was still transferred out from UCLA. So there is a different argument now that can be made about is it even worth going after the higher rated quarterbacks in the recruiting world unless the QB market drops, especially for 5-stars.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, that's fair. I mean, because you go after an elite quarterback and you're still paying elite high school quarterback, and you're still paying a lot of money. I mean, not granted, like, I mean, it's just kind of a pick your poison because paying what I don't even know what numbers we're talking these days, $2-3 million, maybe more for an elite 5-star quarterback. I mean, that's a lot of money for an unproven guy, but at the same time, if you want a proven guy in the transfer portal, you're talking 6-7 million. I just did 6-7, but $6 or $7 million, something like that. And and even probably these days
And
pushing
proven, like,
yeah, I mean, like if you consider like Sam Levitt and Brendan Sorsby proven, which I mean they're 5-star transfer prospects, so
I think Sorsby has a more proven floor. I don't know if he
Mhm.
has a ceiling, but Levitt has a higher ceiling. But I think Levitt could really, like be a bust this year.
I have a hard time believing that he will be just because he's of
Well,
Lane.
it's Lane's offense, so like when you say a bust, but like when I say that, like he's getting paid, $6 million. Like the
Mhm.
production he puts out there, is it worth the $6 million they're paying him? Like, could they have got that same production from Houston Longstreet,
Yeah,
the
I
5-star
mean that's
transfer from
valid. I mean,
USC?
ultimately, he just turned a Division II quarterback into like a top 5 quarterback in college football this year. So
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fair.
so that there's an argument to be made for that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Micah, I was impressed with Trammell last season. This is too small of a sample size.
Yeah, just we didn't see enough. I mean, like, I mean, like, no offense because he played well, but like the Long Island game, you can throw that out. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah,
to be gleaned from that. And I mean, we just did not see enough snaps against Kentucky. Did he play in any other game? Am I blanking? Was it just those
I
two?
don't. Yeah, I think that was it.
Those are the only two games I remember him playing in. I mean, I think
Because
he's
I
got
know.
talent. I see the potential. I haven't seen enough to be like, this is the guy. I mean, I'm intrigued that they felt the need to keep him because they could have
Well,
portaled a backup if they wanted to.
yeah, those were the only two games. I mean, I know from what I've heard, like people are pretty high on Trammell. Like they think he could be that guy. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the thing with Trammell is like his physical attributes kind of lack.
Mm-hmm.
He's shorter. He's only, I mean, you say only 6 foot, but like he's 6 foot. He's not a crazy mobile athlete. Like he has some decent
Yeah.
mobility, but for being 6 foot, for being a shorter QB, you would want him to have a bit more speed or a bit more height to counteract the
Mm-hmm.
other on him, and he doesn't really have either. Like I mean, Philo's 6'3", if I'm not 6'2", 6'3", if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that, I think.
Philo's 6'2" that I've listed, but and probably similar speed to Trammell. Like someone actually asked me the other in a chat, who's more mobile, Trammell Jones or Aaron Philo? And I think it's kind of a wash.
Mm-hmm.
So for Philo to have a bit more speed, I think Trammell does have a good arm though. I think his arm is a bit underrated. So that's like
Mm-hmm.
one thing that does give him a bit of an edge. But if he were like 6'3", even, if he was 6'3", I think
Yeah.
Trammell would be. I think he could be a lot higher rated of a prospect.
And I mean, Philo doesn't have like a cannon by any means, but I think
No,
Philo has some juice. Philo put some juice on the ball. Like I mean, a lot of his best plays were deep ball throws. I think those were like a little hit or miss on like how good of balls they were, but I mean, that was kind of his, in the games he did play in, that was a little bit of his bread and butter. So I think there's something to be said for that.
and I mean, hey, can't forget Aiden Warner can sling it.
Aiden Warner could sling it. Is he still there? He's still gonna be on the roster, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still on the roster.
Mm-hmm. Is he on scholarship now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I put on scholarship for last season.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't positive.
Yeah, but so we're talking about all these QBs. Let's get straight into our this past weekend's recruiting. Florida Gators hosted a Junior Day weekend that's already produced one commit and 4-star corner Amari Nugent. We had that video posted earlier today about his commitment, so we won't go into it too much, but talk about it a little bit. 4-star top, he's 158 in the composite. South Florida kid, Brandon Harris, already, kind of like the upside of his recruiting is already being seen for him going to get a kid straight out of Miami's backyard. That I had a quote here actually, or not a quote, but from a Miami site. This is from Kane Sports Take. Nugent has made an intentional effort to keep his cards close to his chest. but Miami has been a team we've kept an eye on for him for a little while. He proved himself as one of the best defensive backs in South Florida this year in both the 7-on-7 and high school football regular season. And we don't see any reason why that won't continue this year. So the Kane Sports Take seemed to be pretty high on Nugent. And I mean, it would make sense, based on his rankings, and we saw the speed and the physicality. Like, I like the Nugent take, and I think if this is a sign of what's to come for the rest of our recruiting, to where we can get someone that quickly, that I don't think any of us were expecting that to happen with Nugent. Like, there were some players that I was told were really high on that there's a chance we could land this weekend, but Nugent wasn't one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think this was a higher because you're talking about Miami. It seems like they ultimately kind of beat out Georgia and Indiana, funnily enough, for him. But yeah, I mean, I think we both kind of said, looking at his film, like kind of a lofty comparison, but just play style and athleticism kind of has a little bit of Travis Hunter in him, just in terms of his closeout speed and ball skills. I mean, clearly a really good athlete. And like I think I mentioned last night when we did that video, playing against high-level high school competition, going down into South Florida, getting a DB. I mean, that's really good stuff. I mean, it's just to start, because it's the first commit of the class, and a little bit behind the 8 ball on that one. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great start.
Absolutely. So we were talking about, since we were just talking about QBs, we'll talk the 2 QBs that were on campus this past weekend. So 4-star quarterback Champ Mons, who is on threes, he's ranked as the 335th in the Rivals Interstate. I don't have his 247 pulled up, but he was the number 1 at QB in the class of 2028, but decided to reclassify from Vero Beach. It's interesting, 6'2.5", 220-ish right there, good size. Like, I heard his arm is like his accuracy is still a bit of a project, which makes sense. He's still only 16-ish years old right now, so you wouldn't expect anything. But it's an interesting case where you have someone who is the number 1 ranked QB in his class be ranked, this far, this down low in the 2027 class. And I wonder what the decision was or thought process. I mean, I guess if he thinks he's the best, he's going to prove it this year and, boost his ranking up. But I mean, if you just continue on that track set of being the number 1 in your 28 class, probably going to get paid a lot more than he is this year. So I'm not sure what the thoughts process was for this.
Yeah, he's 254 in the 247 composite, number 17 quarterback. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me when guys do that, because like, unless you're just a guy like Julian Lewis did that, I believe, but like he was going to be he was a high recruit either way. I think he stayed a 5-star after he reclassified. But like, it's an interesting case in the modern kind of the modern game, because like I think about a guy from Jacksonville, Colin Hurley, who did that, reclassified, went to LSU, and just kind of, I think he went to the portal this year. I'm not sure where he ended up, but
Wisconsin.
Interesting. I'm not sure I ever actually
maybe
saw.
I think,
but yeah, but he just never really saw the field.
Michigan,
kind of was Michigan. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I did see that. Yeah, that's interesting. So I'll probably be back up there. I don't know. Just like, it's interesting to me, because in this era where quarterbacks are not particularly patient for the most part, it's interesting to me to reclassify and come in when like just these reclassified guys are almost never ready to start. I mean, being like a 17-year-old quarterback ready to start in Power 4 football is just very rare. So, it's interesting. I think historically you would still want those guys to do that, because you'd rather have them have a year developing under you rather than another year of developing at the high school level. But now I don't know if that's as helpful, because guys are just more prone to leave if they're not getting playing time.
And you have to pay them a lot more.
And you have to pay them. Yeah, exactly.
And I think that roster construction is a big factor in these things. But another QB we had on campus, currently unranked, David Davidson. So he's unranked. They're 2 for 7. It looks like they give him a placeholder ranking of a low 3-star out of Cardinal Mooney, Sarasota. Shout out Teddy Foster. That's where he played at. But 6'6", 210, 20, whatever pounds these sites have him listed as. Monster arm baseball player. There's an 87 fastball we mentioned that you mentioned to me yesterday. And the kid, it seems like just now starting to get recruiting attention. In the past couple days, has gotten offers from Florida, Miami, FSU, Duke, Northwestern, like other big schools. And apparently has trips planned to go to Alabama, Auburn, Oregon, and Georgia. So this is a kid that seems like someone who's going to be jumping up the rankings from unranked. I feel like with all those schools going after you, have to be a 4-star at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll move up because he's currently on the 247 composite, 884, 71st quarterback. So he will 100% move up from that. Just from those offers alone, I would think would bump him up pretty significantly the next time he's evaluated. But like, yeah, I think the question is like, will he move up? Will he be pushing like top 200, top 150? Because a lot can change. We're still at the point of the 2027 cycle where a lot can change. Like these guys, depending on what happens in their senior year, these guys can move up or down hundreds of spots.
You remember Bryson? Do you know who Bryson Beaver is?
Is the Oregon guy who just transferred to Georgia, right?
Yeah, so he was committed to Boise State, ranked in like the 2000s, and then he got offered by Oregon. I think it was late in that cycle. And then he shot up. I think On3 has him as like a top 50. He's 174 in the composite. And he did that at the beginning of his senior year. They're still in their junior years right now. Yeah. There's still going to be a full offseason. There's still going to be the Elite 11. Being where you're ranked right now means pretty little.
Yeah, he's 6'6.5", 215. You got to imagine he's going to continue to bulk up a little bit with that frame. So, I think there's a lot of development still to happen here, but yeah, it's intriguing. And again, historically, if Florida was sort of, I don't want to say ignoring because they're not, but if Florida was sort of looking past a little bit, the higher ranked guys to recruit like a 3-star project guy, I'd be skeptical. But when you look at who else is kind of throwing their hats in the ring for him, I think it's pretty clear that this guy is viewed as someone who's gonna rise these rankings in his senior year.
Yeah, and this isn't official word, but I've heard from I've seen multiple people say that he might be the top of the board, above Haven and above Champ Mons. So it seems like they're pretty high on David Davidson. I gotta get the next T-Law.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting because Florida hasn't really had a quarterback built like that in a while. I'm trying to think of who the last.
Trask
I guess
6'5".
Felipe. Yeah. Felipe was huge and kind of but I'm more thinking big in arm talent kind of guy. Because Trask did not have crazy
Franks
arm
was
talent.
6'6".
Yeah. Because Trask did a lot of things well, but for 6'5", he really didn't have that live of an arm.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really interesting to go look back and think about. That Trask
really smart.
How many 6'5" QBs or tall QBs don't have a good arm? I'm not saying a bad arm.
How good is Davis Mills' arm? Because he's tall. He's super tall.
He's pretty good.
Is it okay? But yeah, you don't see that because usually you just kind of get that leverage and power just from being a bigger guy. But it wasn't Trask had a bad arm, but he was much more about reading the defense and throwing accurate kind of touch passes. That was more his game. But yeah, Florida hasn't had just a big guy who throws fastballs in a while. I guess AR kind of.
Yeah, 6'4", and maybe the strongest arm in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Okay, but moving on from quarterbacks, we'll go to offensive line. Maybe the position that where people are most interested in besides quarterback. It's always quarterback really, but O-line probably next. Was supposed to have 3 5-star O-linemen on campus. However, 2 of them couldn't make it, or one of them couldn't make it because of the snowstorm in Texas. But we still had Maxwell Heiler from Pennsylvania, number 1 interior guy. They have him listed as an interior offensive lineman, but he's 6'5.5", 6'6", nearly I feel if this is someone who's going to be ranked this highly, he has to be a tackle. You just don't rank interior guys that highly. Nor do they make as much money as tackles do. So, no. Feel Kyler is probably is going to be more of a tackle than an interior guy. But he's someone who, from what I've heard, top of the board guy, which makes sense for someone of that ranking. But going back to Troutwin being at Penn State in Pennsylvania, this kid's from Coastal Pennsylvania, already has a great relationship with Troutwine. It's someone that I think if we keep our pressure on, we offer the right NIL package, like I think this is something Troutwin's really going to focus on trying to land.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you said the position people are most interested in outside of quarterbacks. I mean, not only like, I mean, I agree, but I mean, I think like obviously people are going to care about quarterbacks, but to me, the offensive line recruiting is the most important like thing I want to see these first couple years of roster building, just because it's been such a limitation under multiple staffs now in a row. And like, I think they are like that to me will be more important for the trajectory of John Summerall's tenure than pretty much anything else, just because of, again, the fact that it is hard to build an offensive line through the portal. They don't seem to be really, based on just the sample size of their first offseason, that doesn't seem to be really how they want to build an offensive line through the portal. And, Troutwine, like, again, the whole selling point was recruiting and development. So I think that's really interesting to see. And I think I'm really curious what this first offensive line class is going to look like, because I think, you don't really have like a lot of like long-term projected starters on the roster kind of as depth right now. Like I think you're going to have to kind of add some younger guys who will be starting in a year or two from now.
Yeah. The next one, 5-star offensive tackle from St. Thomas in Fort Lauderdale, St. Thomas Aquinas. Mark Matthews, the number 2 ranked player on the On3 industry ranking. Where is that where he's ranked in 247? Do you know?
Mark Matthews. He is number 2. He's number 2 on the 247 composite.
So number 2 on both of them. And I mean, yeah, this is a big fish. I feel like he's already Miami bound. He has predictions to Miami. Signing day isn't for a whole year, so it's like what's going to happen then. But I feel like this is the one where we're playing catch up a lot here.
Yeah,
this is one that's going to be really tough for us to get. I know there were rumors that he wouldn't even make it out to Florida for this day, but I guess he still did. Nothing really coming out about it. Like, it's one I feel like you have to throw your hat in for, because where he's ranked, where he's from, like right in your backyard, you have to go and try to make a play for him. But he's in Miami's front yard, really. So it's one that you have to make a play for, but I feel like this is going to be pretty tough for us to make a play for, considering Miami already seems to be a heavy favorite, and they're coming off their most successful season in 20 plus years.
And they have a really proven developer of offensive line talent in Alex Mirabal. I mean, I think, this would be, maybe DJ Lagway notwithstanding, this would be the biggest recruiting win for Florida in more than a decade. I like the kind of guy, like this is the kind of player who like legit could start at tackle on day one as a true freshman, like just that kind of talent. Not many guys can do that, but I'm kind of with you. It seems a little ambitious that you're going to pull a guy that Miami has the kind of the upper hand for already out of Fort Lauderdale with just the situation they're in. I mean, ultimately, I think Florida's going to need a little bit of proof of concept before they can consistently win battles like that.
I mean, could you imagine Miami? So they have Jackson Cantwell, who's number 4, overall, number 1 tackle coming in. And from, what the NIL talks were, like in his size, like I think he's going to start day 1. Yeah, I feel like based on everything I see, like unless he just gets to campus and is a bit of a project, then like he's probably going to start day 1. And then they also get Mark Matthews in next class. He's also starting day 1.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money to some true freshman guys, and they're highly rated. The guys, you look at Miami this past year, and they're obviously pretty worth it for that in the offensive line. So I do wonder if maybe Miami is going to pull back a little bit because they did get Cantwell. And it's tough because they got Francis Mauigoa and Samson Okunalola in the same class a couple years ago, and Mauigoa is going to the NFL. Okunalola, I don't even know what he's making now. He's kind of just been their 6th man off the bench for them on the offensive line. So it's like, who knows what their plan is with him there. But Matthews and Cantwell are going to be making a bit more money than either of those guys were even making at the time. So
they still tried to go pay Jordan Seaton all that money.
Oh, they did. Well, Seaton would have been a 1-year deal. Like Seaton would have been gone, and then Matthews would be coming in. So
that's true.
That's a bit different. Oh my God, could you imagine if they were paying Seaton and Cantwell?
They're minted, I guess. We'll see how sustainable that is, but they clearly have the money to spend right now.
Yeah, I guess. But It'll take probably a miracle for us to get him. Like,
Yeah.
maybe we're undervaluing Troutwin and how much resources we're putting onto the O-line, but based on what we've seen from Florida the past 12 years, 10 years, 15 years even, like, I don't really there's nothing for us to base on to be like, oh yeah, we can get Matthews.
No, again, the kind of recruiting battle that really, aside from Lagway and quarterback recruiting, is kind of its own beast. But like, you really have not had a recruiting win like that in a very long. I mean, it was
Sis
Martez
Ivy.
Ivy. Yeah, it was the last time you had a recruiting win like that.
Absolutely. Next guy we're going to look at, 4-star. He's 132 on the On3 industry ranking. Sean Tatum, 6'3", 6'3.5", 310 pounds, out of John Carroll, Port St. Lucie. This is one I've heard a lot of great things about. Like, this is a person I would expect to be in our class, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's one of our next couple commits. And, he's 132, which is a good recruit. I mean, higher than Amari Nugent, who are both we will both like that take. Tatum would be the second highest ranked commit of the Billy Napier cycle, only behind Roderick Kearney.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're able to get him in like your first couple months of being here, and I mean, we'll see what else happens on the offensive line class, but if you're able to get Tatum that quickly and that soon, like, that would really show the emphasis the staff has on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's an interior guy, he's going to be a guard. He's not a tackle, but it would still be a major emphasis, a major exclamation point on this recruiting class.
Yeah, I mean, another guy out of South Florida, really good prospect. I mean, I think, yeah, like I mean, I'm curious if he were to commit, like there is some smoke that he could. I'm curious how, like, that might still be a battle to the finish line. I mean, he already has, according to 247, at least, he has official visits set in May and June for Miami, Florida, and Tennessee. So
yes,
I would assume Miami's probably not going to back down there. Tennessee might not either. So this one might be a battle down the stretch, but would battle to the finish. But I think would certainly be a huge early win for Troutwine. Like, I mean, and especially assuming a guy like Matthews is off the table, I think this would be a really nice kind of early message to send.
Yeah, he has visits set. I mean, we've seen kids cancel visits all the time.
Sure, and he might just straight up cancel those visits if he were to commit. I'm just saying, like, if he didn't, you might still have to be fending off Miami for a while.
What is the schedule of those? Who's for?
May 29th to Miami, June 4th to Florida, June 12th to Tennessee.
That's also a new change. Our visit weekends are now going to be from Thursday to Saturday. Instead of under Napier, they were Friday to Sunday. So that's something new that they're doing because they like giving the staff Sundays off.
Gotcha.
And I mean, I guess it's nice to get home if you're a recruit on a Sunday instead of Monday.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting change. I wonder if it helps us in any way or if it's just kind of a neutral thing.
I wonder if most staffs are doing Friday visits, I wonder if it gives you like a leg up because you could get a guy in early. I don't know. I get leg up in terms of like other schools trying to schedule visits. Not sure if that really has any impact. I'm just curious. But yeah.
All right, next offensive lineman we're going to talk about here. Timmy Aliu from Locust Grove, Georgia, listed as a 6'4" offensive tackle here. Sorry. On3's industry ranking has our rivals industry ranking, has him at 184 in the country. Someone I haven't really heard too much about. Came on campus though, so I mean, just another offensive lineman who still would be the second highest ranked offensive lineman of the Billy Napier cycle. So it's just another offensive lineman on campus and continues to prove that they're really putting an emphasis on O-linemen.
Yeah, and a guy who seems to be gaining some traction recently. Like this month, he's got like Florida offered him in December, and then this month he's gotten offers from Tennessee, from FSU, and Kentucky. He was at Tennessee's junior day like a week ago. So yeah, clearly a guy who is also 247 has him 257, number 26 offensive tackle. But I think also seems like a guy who is maybe sort of picking up some steam in terms of recruiting momentum. Got offer. He already has Georgia offer. Like Georgia offered him in October. So he certainly had some big offers in the past, but
yeah. Next we'll look at is Terrence Smith from Lansdale, Pennsylvania. He's ranked 189 in the on-3 industry ranking, the number 11 interior offensive lineman in the class, 6'6", 250. That's doesn't feel like an interior offensive lineman.
No, that's a very strange build for an interior guy.
Yeah, I would think that's more of a tackle, personally. So we'll see what they're targeting him as later down the road. But it's a Pennsylvania kid, obviously someone Troutman has a connection, probably already had a connection with at Penn State. And I mean, he's had a Penn State offer for a while. He's been visiting Penn State since early last year. Since 2020, November of 2024, his second school he visited ever, according to On3. So, and yeah, just visited Florida now. So, visited Auburn as well recently. So he looks like he's starting to make some trips down south as well, not just us. Maybe that's something that's good for us. Maybe try to get out of that Pennsylvania cold. Although there's that big cold front rolling through the south, even not Florida though.
True.
But parts of the south.
Very warm here. Very warm here in Jacksonville.
It's kind of hot, to be honest.
Yeah.
Bit jealous of those. Although if they lose power, I'm not jealous of them.
Yeah, no longer jealous. Jealousy ends the moment power goes out.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say back to Smith. I mean, I am curious because I think that is another selling point of Troutwine is, new staff. You kind of have to these first couple classes are tough with a new staff because you're kind of at a disadvantage, especially like Summerall coming from Tulane. It'd be different if we had hired like Lane or something, but Summerall coming from Tulane, he was not recruiting from the same pool that Florida's currently recruiting from. So he doesn't necessarily have those relationships with these guys. But I think that is the selling point of Troutwine is you kind of import his relationships with these younger guys that he's already been building at Penn State. And like you said, get out of the cold. I am curious if that's at least for maybe the first couple years that he's here, kind of a pipeline of him getting guys from that region to come down to Florida, guys he already had relationships with. I'm curious if that's something Florida is able to kind of exploit.
Yeah, I mean, look at Maxwell Healer, who the top 10 recruit on campus. We had Olu. We talked about him last week. He was on campus 2 weeks ago he was at the Tennessee game, if I'm not mistaken. So the basketball game with Troutwine. And now we mentioned with Terrence Smith, another kid from Pennsylvania, he has that connection pre-built. So it makes sense for him to be going up there. And if he can land some of these kids, I won't be complaining at all.
No, but I think that's I just think that's I'm just saying that's an interesting kind of another layer to the potential advantages of hiring him.
Yeah, we'll start speeding up here a bit going because we got a lot of names here. So
we do have a lot of names.
Last offensive lineman, 2028 kid Charlie Pisani, also is John Carroll Fort Pierce. That's not where
that is where
Tatum's from. Yeah, John Carroll.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So teammates, I guess, on the offensive line with Sean Tatum, maybe that's something that can help us build out that relationship even more. But 2028, I'm not too worried about right now.
No, so much can change. Yeah, it's hard to put too much stock in that. Although would like to get a couple guys committed in that just so you don't sort of find yourself playing catch up like Florida is a little bit right now. Again, didn't really have a choice. There was a staff change. It is what it is. But yeah, that would be a nice thing to kind of get ahead of moving forward.
Yep. We'll run through some of these wide receivers real quick. You got Amari Patterson, 6 foot 180 out of Ridgeland, South Carolina. Someone who's already had interest in Florida, even during the Billy Napier tenure here. I'm pretty sure it was said that we're one of his leaders. And he said an official visit with us for June 11th. Visited us 5 times, the most of anyone else, according to On3. So it seems like if he's someone that really likes Florida, and if Florida would like him, I think this is someone we'll take that we could get pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one thing the last staff did pretty well was recruit receivers. So I'm curious to see if that trend can continue with the staff.
Next, Anthony Jennings out of Fort Lauderdale Dillard High School. He's 265 on 3. So Rivals ranking has him 83. ESPN has him 190, and 247 has him as a 3-star. He named Florida his leader, straight up. Said Florida is my leader as of now. So it's obviously they made a pretty good impression on him. Miami, Did he set an official visit? I don't see anything here.
I don't either. I don't see any
So,
officials set.
but it seems like it's one that Florida made a really big impression on, and we'll see where these rankings turn out. But South Florida receiver, like those, usually turn out pretty good.
He has 213 on the 247 composite, so that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and I'm just a sucker. Maybe I'm just living in the past, but I'm a sucker for landing guys out of South Florida because I think I still believe that matters. Maybe I'm wrong in that sense that about how the importance of recruiting, but I think being able to go and recruit guys out of South Florida is really key.
Yeah, I would agree. Next, here, let me pull this up because on 247, Julius Jones out of St. Thomas Aquinas, 58 on the 247 composite. He visited 5'11", 160. Isn't he related to? Yeah, his father was an NFL running back, and so was his uncle. So a family that one went to Notre Dame, one went to Virginia Tech, but now plays in Fort Lauderdale at St. Thomas Aquinas. I know Notre Dame's the heavy favorite here, but the fact you're still getting him on campus shows there is some interest. And we kind of got to wait and see where the relationship builds with him. Number 58 ranked player, like obviously a pretty solid player, but I wonder if this is one you can even pull away from Notre Dame.
Yeah, and it seems like maybe there's some other guys in this class at receiver that Florida just has an easier path to landing. I mean, again, like it's also we're talking about junior day, so you cast both coaches, staffs, and players cast a really wide net here. Having guys that they don't really think they have a great shot at. Guys going to schools junior days that maybe they don't really think they're actually planning to go to. So I think this might be one of those cases, but we'll see.
Yeah. Next player, Trenton Yancey out of Duncanville, Texas, number 216 on the On3 industry ranking. Another 6'1", 180. I mean, there's a lot of 6'1", 180s basically.
He's 5'10" on 247. Oh, On3 has him out. Does On3 have him at 6'1"?
No, they have him at 6 foot.
Oh, 6 foot. Oh, sorry, I thought you said 6 foot or 6'1".
6 foot 180.
Yeah, they have him 5'10", 180 on 247.
Wow,
interesting. Yeah,
that's a pretty big difference.
You don't usually see a difference that big, especially without a weight difference. That's weird.
Yeah, very weird. But on Duncanville, we just got KJ Fort. Fort was Duncanville, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah, Fort was Duncanville. They produce a lot of really good players.
Yeah,
I think Colin Simmons was Duncanville.
He was.
I want to say. Yeah.
So is Caden Durham at LSU the running back? Like
yes.
Duncanville's like, one of the top
Oregon
users in the country.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe his relationship with Ford again. It's like it's tough when there's receivers that maybe don't jump off the page to you that are far from like you can get someone with these exact measurables and rankings in the state of Florida. So maybe there's something else about him the staff likes that. It's a bit early. That's really all we can say about that.
Yeah, and I mean maybe KJ Ford's a bit of a pipeline there if they know each other. I have no idea, but yeah, I mean it's early. We'll see.
All right, next we're gonna go quickly through the corners. Chase Johnson out of Swainsboro, Georgia, number 221 on Rivals industry rankings. I know he was someone that the previous staff was pretty high on, and has visited Florida a couple times, even before the other day, Friday or yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say here, just beyond the fact that I think it's interesting. There's a lot of Georgia guys on this list. I would think Summerall is going to recruit that pretty heavily. I'm a little surprised there's not as many Alabama guys because I would expect we end up recruiting a lot of Alabama guys just because that's so much of his connections are Alabama.
I feel like I saw someone. I mean, there's the one kid. There's an unranked 28 player or 2027 player out of Mobile. But I think there is some players recruiting of Alabama who just weren't here.
Yeah.
Next corner, we already talked about Nugent. Is that it? We have an athlete. I'm not sure what position he is. 6'3", 190 though. 271 on three industry ranking. Out of Montgomery. So right there, out of Alabama.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. I'm not sure what position.
There's another one on this list too. I just saw. Wait, sorry. What name are you talking about here?
Braden Gordon.
Oh, okay.
It's an athlete.
Yeah, I can't really find any. And there's no the description of him is not doesn't have stats or anything like that.
No.
So you can't even really glean. I mean, build 6'5", 200. I mean, maybe receiver.
That's kind of my thought right there. Maybe that's why,
Yeah.
like, maybe I can find his huddle and see outside linebacker / receiver. So receiver, probably.
That I gotta be honest, that is a combo I don't think I've ever seen before. I don't
No,
think I've
that's
ever
a
seen the receiver
combo.
outside linebacker combo. That's crazy.
It is a bit wild. But 6'4", 200, depending on what site you look at, like good size to him there.
Yeah.
Next, we're gonna go through the D line real quick. Jamarcus Brown out of Memphis, Tennessee, is an Ole Miss commit, ranked in the top 100, is 27th, 71st, and then unranked on Rivals. So, mass difference there. So, I mean, Ole Miss commit, 6'5", 300-pound D lineman. Hey, you're getting him on campus. It's still a long time, so maybe you can work to flip him.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Next, edge rusher J.C. Brewer out of Indianapolis, Indiana, 6'5", 225. That's interesting for us to be at edge going to Indianapolis. I'm not thinking of any connections to the staff there.
No, I no, it's interesting. And like I mean, it's this kind of thing I would like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see a little bit more national recruiting like that. I mean, obviously we're doing that with the Pennsylvania guys that Trout one's going after, but I'd like to see, I think it's just something you can do way easier these days. I mean, I think, and it's something other schools have done. Like I remember LSU went and got, and it didn't work out because Jackson Howard didn't end up being the guy, but he was like from Minneapolis. So like they just, like, I think there's an ability to kind of go get those guys out of places that have like historically been Big Ten country.
Yeah. That's it for edge. Yes. Okay. So next we'll do some RBs here. We have Andrew Beard out of Bogart, Georgia. I know that's a pretty infamous school there. I've seen him. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Bogart, something like that.
Bogart. I think Bogart.
Yeah, number 87 on On3 industry ranking, 5'9", 190. That's interesting combo right there.
247 has him at 197, but yeah.
Okay. But top 100 guy out of Georgia, I mean, we'll see. There's not really much input to say here.
No, I mean, I think Florida's had a lot of success with running backs over the years. Obviously, new staff. We'll see how that goes. But interesting prospect. I mean, top 100 guy. Curious to see how it plays out. It seems like he's got a lot of the usual suspects interested. So we'll see how it goes.
Last running back, Wayne Shanks Jr. out of Houston, Texas, number 420 on the On3 industry ranking, our Rivals industry rankings here. Again, nothing much to say here out of Texas. Like, we'll see, I guess.
Sorry, what did you say his On3 industry was?
420.
Okay, yeah. So they have him as a 3-star?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's 247. Yeah, 247 has him 437. So pretty in line there. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, again, not really a ton to say beyond just we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Linebacker Cole Crawford out of Cartersville, Georgia, number 270 on the On3 industry ranking, 6'3", 200. Needs to put some weight on there, 200 pounds for a linebacker. So, again, it's just Cartersville, big-time school, Georgia, obviously in the mix, Georgia Tech, Auburn. Like, we'll see.
247 has him 225, so maybe in the process of already adding some weight to that frame.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
But yeah, agreed. That is a little bit under. That's a little bit under where you'd like to see, but he's got time.
Absolutely. Another tight end here, George Lamons, already decommitted from Texas A&M out of Quitman, Georgia, number 150 on On3 industry ranking. 189 on Rivals, 61st on ESPN, and is a 3-star on 247, 6'3", 200. They have him listed on Rivals. We'll see.
Would this be Florida? Obviously very early in the process, and we'll see how it goes. But like, would that be Florida's highest rated tight end in a while? Who was
Amir Jackson was 99.
Was he? Okay. Wow. I'm not sure I realized that.
Yeah. And then Hezzy Kent was like 2 something, but
that's what I thought. I didn't think Hezzy Kent was.
So tight end.
What? Quote unquote tight end. Yeah.
All right. Last player, if I'm not mistaken here, that 2027 class, Jaden Mauricio Bailey out of Prattsville, Alabama, safety, 306 and on 3 industry ranking. Rivals has him at 76. Rivals is at 247 has him as a 3-star, and ESPN has him as a 3-star. That's an interesting disparity in ranking there. 6'2", 180.
Especially because 233 on the 247 composite. So like that's decent. I mean, that's not bad. So yeah, I mean it's but definitely an interesting differential. I mean, he just got an offer from Ohio State the other day. He got has an offer from Michigan. I mean, I should say had an offer from Michigan under the old staff. Not sure where that currently stands, but I mean, certainly some interest in him. So, I mean, again, we'll see. But so there were a couple Alabama guys. So I was wrong. So that is interesting because I think that is something where Summerall may have more of an advantage than you would expect a Florida coach to have.
And then we'll end it off here with a 2028 kid, Asher Ghetto, Ghioto. Out of the Bowl School in Jacksonville, big time high school there in Jacksonville. Number 13, number 3 edge, 6'5". From what I think, if I remember correctly, earlier in the year, because they've had these ranked for a little bit now, and he was one of the higher ranked kids and is right now. It's been mentioned that he grew up a Florida fan. Like this is one that Florida could definitely get an early jump on and maybe sink their teeth into and maybe get early commitment from him in the 2028 class. And number 13 in the country. It's one that I wouldn't be surprised if they make a pretty early priority for the class of 2028.
Yeah, my neck of the woods here. Jacksonville doesn't produce a ton of 5-stars. They're kind of few and far between.
But 2 in that 2028 class.
Yeah. Wait, who's the other?
Bryson Wright, that receiver.
Oh, okay.
Remember the receiver who at the NFL flag football thing had some insane catch?
Vaguely. I
Bryson
vaguely
Wright.
Remember that? Oh, he's a Mandarin guy too. Should have known. Yeah, they're a powerhouse now. But no,
he's number 2 on the industry ranking.
Yeah, I mean Florida kind of has, Jacksonville is for all intents and purposes Florida's backyard, and they have a pretty good track record getting guys they want from the area. Usually those are not guys this elite. Big opportunity here. I mean, early, a lot of time before things are done and dusted with him. But yeah, I think that's a guy that early benchmark, first 2 real recruiting classes for this staff. That's an early benchmark. You got to go get the 5-star defensive lineman who grew up from Jacksonville, who grew up a Gator fan.
Well, I might be wrong there, but I vividly remember hearing something about him saying he grew up a Gator fan, but that was a bit ago, so I may be mistaken.
I mean, it's a pretty safe.
He's taken 7 visits to Florida.
Yeah, they're the only school listed as warm on 247 for him. So.
Oh, he's taken 9 to FSU. Okay, FSU there, or so no, he's taken 8 now to Florida because this doesn't include yesterday. So already taking a lot of visits. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is one who commits earlier on than you expect.
It's kind of funny with him is he's gaining G5 and lower P4 offers now, but already in the past few days, but already had offers from Texas, Penn State, much bigger programs, but then FAU offered the other day.
Yeah. But that's it. This was a big time recruiting weekend. And we say junior day. We just mentioned some sophomores there. So that's pretty funny. But no, I mean, it's nice to see this staff seem to put a pretty big emphasis on recruiting. So we're confirming this isn't Dan Mullen.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. I think to be fair, it is recruiting time, so it's okay to talk about it because it is recruiting time.
It is recruiting season, unlike Dan would say. Oh man, that was a lot of recruiting talk. We got a comment here.
That was.
It's Black put all the false media narrative and mining hate aside. If you're rocking with the you know what to show. Mario Cristobal support. Urban Meyer doesn't have to know. Bang. No.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Better luck.
Absolutely not, Steve.
Lost to Indiana. Better luck next time.
Yeah, I mean Carson Beck just threw the third game in a loss, the third game with a fourth quarter or last drive interception.
Yeah, what was of his? Was it third? I thought it was 4 of his 6 losses as a.
All of the losses this year.
I'm pretty sure 4 of his 6 career college losses were him throwing an interception. To end the game.
I think you're right about that. But let's talk about these NFL playoff games. I'm pretty sure one of them just started.
Yeah, Patriots. Broncos went 3 and out, I believe, to start the game.
So let's just give quick predictions for these games. So FanDuel has New England as a 3.5-point favorite. I think that's easy money. And I mean, Broncos went 3-0 to start the game. I'm pretty confident Patriots win this by more than 3.5 points.
So that's my pick as well. I'm not sure I'm as confident about it as you, just because I think that like the Patriots offense kind of got stonewalled last week. I mean, if Stroud just didn't melt down, which was really fun. It was a really fun hate watch, by the way. That was an all-time hate watch. But like I think that New England might still struggle to score in this game. So I like see them winning ugly and low scoring, but I think they probably do cover that.
Okay. Then Rams Seahawks. FanDuel has the Seahawks as a minus 2.5-point favorites. This is an interesting game because for most of the regular season, it was the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Seahawks crept up, and now it's the Seahawks. They are favorites to win the Super Bowl. They're plus 150. Then it's the Rams plus 250. So whoever wins this game is likely going to be the favorite to win that game by a little bit there. So I'm gonna take the Rams.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't trust Sam Darnold. I don't care.
Look, the Rams have been my pick all year. Like they've been my Super Bowl pick for a while. I think I'm switching sides here though, just because I think Seattle's defense is playing that good right now.
Yeah, it's playing great.
And I mean, we kind of saw Matt Stafford. I mean, I understand it was like 0 degrees, freezing and snowing and stuff, but like he did not look very good last week. I get it. No. I get the weather stuff, but it does give me a little bit of pause. I mean, maybe I'm being stupid because like both the games in the regular season between these two games or two teams were like total thrillers, like super close games. So maybe it will be that again, and it probably should be. But I kind of feel like the Rams are going to have the same kind of issues that other teams have had trying to beat Seattle in the last month.
Yeah, I just took a look at NFL draft odds to be the first overall pick. It's Mendoza by a mile. He's minus 7,000. Can you guess who's number 2?
Number 2 in odds, like top odds to go second or second best odds to go first?
They go first.
I mean, is it Ty Simpson?
No, Simpson's 4th. Number 2 is Ruben Bain at plus 5,000, according to FanDuel.
I mean, I think he's the best player in the draft. I would assume that the Raiders would take him back.
Bain's wingspan, but his arms are too short. He's not going to be an edge.
You think so?
He has to move inside, and he has to, like, I don't know if you've proven enough to be like, oh, well, we fully trust he's going to be able to do that inside.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of worked for Trayvon Walker making that sort of move, but in the NFL as a top pick a couple years ago, but like, yeah, that is a concern.
Guess who's number 5th? Who's 5th in odds? It's not a bad player. It's not a bad player. It's just
directly behind Ty Simpson. I mean,
they're tied actually with Ty Simpson.
Is it Maligoa?
No, he's pretty far down. He was like 12th or something.
Okay.
It's Trinidad.
That was actually the first name that popped into my head, but I figured that wouldn't be the case anymore, considering it sounds like they're actually thinking he might get his waiver.
I know they're suing, but like, why? I mean, I don't get. No,
I'm with you.
First round pick.
No, I'm with you. His stock's never going to be higher than it is right now. I mean, I think the OC hire they made, John David Baker, is that his name? The guy from East Carolina.
ECU coach. I just know that.
I think that's his name. I might be butchering that, but I think that was a fine hire. But it's just I can't imagine that he's gonna have the same stock, that he had this year with Lane and Weiss. We'll see. But I don't get it. Like if I'm him, I'm striking while the iron's hot and going to the league, but that's just me.
I would too. But no, it's going to be interesting to see who ends up in the Super Bowl. And are the Patriots driving actually already?
I think they had to punt, and the Broncos have the ball back, and now it's 3rd and 10.
Do.
So far, shaping up, looking good for my prediction. The super.
Yeah, it's over. It's the first quarter. Not even 5. It's 4 minutes into the game. It's over. I lost.
Yep.
GG. But no.
Well, we both have the same pick. I'm just less confident about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right there. But let's get to our final segment of the show. Just like last year, where we were both way off on our predictions, we're gonna do our way too early, and I mean way too early, like 2026 schedule predictions or game
Yeah, I was gonna say,
predictions.
yeah, so too early that I'm gonna be straight up and honest that I have not done the research on what these teams' starting lineups are gonna look like. This is almost entirely vibes based. Just putting that out there right now.
I mean, I think I have a good idea with these lineups. I think I know most
I
of
mean,
the
I know
teams.
like who the big additions were, but like I don't know who all everyone's losing, like at offensive line and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of knowledge I still had, a lot of research that still needs to be done on that end, but we'll take a shot at it. I'm sure we'll do this again a couple times over the course of the offseason.
Like last year where we did it after its portal, then we did it after spring practice, then we did it right before the season. So probably follow that similar formula this year. But I mean, let's just start out. Last year we went pretty long on this, so we're gonna try to do a bit quicker this time.
Yeah.
Our first two games, FAU and Campbell, Gator wins.
Yeah, it should be. FAU is not even a particularly good G5 program right now. So
is Vanderkelp still with them? I mean, he led the country in interceptions last year.
I'm not positive.
Colton
Veltkamp, you mean?
Veltkamp, yeah, Veltkamp.
The Western Kentucky transfer, yeah.
Yeah. He's not Georgia Southern? Wait, no, that's a linebacker.
Is it Veltkamp? Yeah, he's at FAU still.
Okay. Well,
I think
he threw 17 picks last year. He was the only person to throw more picks than DJ Lagway. I mean, the two pick leaders being from the state of Florida or in the state of Florida is interesting there. And then it was Josh Hoover, who's now at Indiana. But yeah, it's Gators by 1 million in both those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the first real game of this, I mean, FAU is interesting because I mean our game against them when we played them in 2021 was a bit closer. I remember that because that was the first game of the season that year, and it's like that's when the bench Emory Jones narrative really started taking off, and because AR, that's where he had his big hurdle or the image and everything comes from being famous and everything. So I want to see us do better than we did in that game in 2021 against FAU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But first game, real game of the season at Auburn. This is an interesting game because Auburn is basically just USF from last. I mean, the offense is basically just USF's offense from last year. And I mean, they put up, what was it, 19 on us last year?
19.
17 final
18.
score.
Wasn't it 18,
16? 18-16.
Yeah.
That was the final score of that game. So it's not like their offense went crazy on us, but a little bit more talent around them, gonna have a better offensive line with them now at Auburn than they did at USF, and a whole nother year of development. And we have a whole new defense, or we don't have a whole new defense. What am I saying? But a new defensive coordinator. This is really going to be a test for this defense.
Yeah.
So where Auburn's style with that veer and shoot is the type of defense that could give us trouble, like Tennessee's did last year, where they're going to spread the field out, test our corners, and if our corners aren't physical, if they can't cover, then they have quick receivers. They could make plays, and they could toast our secondary.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I just look at this game, and it's like, I mean, I think Auburn will be improved because I think they imported a ton of pieces from a team that was better than them this year.
But here's the thing. Their defense was actually great.
Yeah.
And they lose their entire defense. That's the big question for me because they keep Durkin, but they lost the defense. Like every piece from that defense either transferred or in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
So I like Durkin. He's a great DC. But can he bring it back to what it was with all that difference on the defensive side of the ball and an offense that's going to be quick? That could hurt the defense as well. Could.
Yeah. No, I don't really buy into year one Auburn. I mean, I think they'll be improved, but I do think this is a win on the road. I think it's going to be tough just because it's going to be emotional for them. You know, they're obviously they wanted Summerall, so I don't know. There's no hiding from that. So like it's going to be a big game for them, but I do think Florida goes on the road and gets kind of a big tone setting win in Summerall's first real game.
I agree. I have us beating Auburn. I'm not high. I'm not a big Byron Brown fan. I'm not a big goalish guy at all. Like I think 9 wins being your best season, and then you're 500 in their first 2 years getting hired at Auburn. Like that's just, I feel like that's just an offensive thing. Like if this was a defensive coordinator with those stats, like he wouldn't be at Auburn right now. Like maybe you're getting hired at like a UCLA.
Yeah.
Next game, Ole Miss. This is an interesting game because is Trinidad coming back? That's the
I'm
question.
operating under the assumption that he is.
I'm not.
I mean, they're optimistic that they seem to think he's coming back. So
I don't know. I haven't seen that, but like, I'm personally going to say he isn't, and that's how I'm going to judge this game. I'll say if Trinidad's playing, I'll pick Ole Miss. I don't think he is, so I'm taking us to win. It's at home. I don't think this defense is going to be good at all. And Deuce Knight, unproven, new offensive scheme. It's not the same. It's not the same offense under Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss. So I'm going to take us to win this game at home, unless Trinidad's playing.
I saw a report this week from I think either On3 or 247 that there's like growing optimism among Ole Miss that he's coming back, and the judge who's deciding is a Ole Miss alum. So we'll see how that works out. I'm operating on the assumption he's coming.
Though. If like, he's eligible, because he could still go to the NFL.
I think it is a guarantee. I don't think he'd be doing this if he was just going to go to the NFL. I think he'll come back if he gets it. I'm operating on the assumption he is.
Opens? I don't know.
I don't see why. Like, if you think you're going to be a first round pick, just go be a first round pick and don't bother with the legal stuff. Right. But either way, I mean, frankly, I think either way, this is kind of a potential letdown spot if you go on the road and beat Auburn in like a big win on the road and come back home the next week against a good team. I'm operating on the assumption he's playing. I think this is a loss. I think this is a slip up spot against a team that I don't really love the long-term trajectory under Pete Golding, but I think there's probably enough holdover that I think they'll still be pretty good next year.
Okay.
I mean, we'll see. They did lose some defensive pieces that they were expecting to hold on to because of that kind of whole debacle that's played out the last week or so, or the last week of the portal,
no more Princewell, no more Daughtery. Like, I think this Ole Miss defense is going to be bad, and like I think our offense is going to be able to really score against them. And if they don't have Trinidad, I don't know how much I like that Ole Miss offense. I love Kawan Lacey. Like, I love Kawan Lacey and everything, but I don't trust Deuce Knight. I don't trust the new QB, new coaching staff. Like, and we just gotta see with Golding. So I'm gonna pick you as a win. If Trinidad's playing, I think that's a game that's a lot more interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd say if you tell me he's certainly not playing, I might lean towards Florida there, but I still think it's tough. I still think it'll be tough. I still think that's a tough game either way.
I've already stated how low I am in Ole Miss. So.
I know you have, but you were low. You were pretty low on them this year too, though, weren't you?
Okay, I was very low on them, but if Trinidad wasn't, no one predicted a D2 transfer to come and do this. If Austin Simmons was their QB, Ole Miss would have been like 8-4, 9-3.
I'm not sure I completely agree with that, but you are right to an extent. You are right to an extent for sure.
They're not beating Oklahoma with Austin Simmons. Trinidad made some crazy plays. Austin Simmons, they're not doing that with Austin Simmons.
I mean, I think Austin Simmons might be a little bit better than you're giving him credit for.
You're right.
Well, we'll see. We'll find out. Yeah, let's
I'm
talk
about I'm about to do something crazy here. At Missouri, I think we lose this game.
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I think you have those back-to-back big wins against Auburn and Ole Miss, and then you go on the road to Missouri. And I think what the difference in this game is, our biggest question. What do you think is the biggest question on this team right now?
On this Florida team, I mean,
there's two of them.
I mean, the answer is quarterback.
Okay, sorry. I mean, we know Philo's starting. It's just whether he's good enough. So
that's what I mean. Yeah.
I think it's D tackle or corner. And I look at Missouri and I look at their best player. they were the second best run blocking unit, and they returned like 3 or 4 of their starters from last season. They returned Ahmad Hardy, who led the SEC in rushing yards last year.
He's a dog. He's great.
I think this is the game where our interior could really hurt us. And it's on the road. And I mean, Auburn's on the road, but I'm a bit lower on them. So it's like, I trust Missouri to be solid enough, and it's at Missouri, and this is like a perfect slip-up spot. So I'm going to take Missouri to win this one. I can't take us to do more than this.
No, I think that's an understandable pick. Like, if I had picked an Ole Miss win, I'd probably be, and this is like, maybe this is stupid, like pop psychology, but like, if I had picked an Ole Miss win, I think I'd be picking a loss here, because I do agree that is a letdown spot on the road. I don't think they lose both those games. I think they will win one of them. I think they probably do split them. maybe you're right about the order and I'm not. But yeah, I mean, I think that is a tough game on the road. I just I don't know. I feel like they kind of underachieved this year. Like I walked away from, because I've always been higher on Drinkwitz than like the average Florida fan was. But I kind of walked away this year having a much more like opinion on Drinkwitz, because I think they should have won some games that they didn't. Or at least should have been competitive in some games that they were not competitive in.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. It's gonna be interesting to see how they go from Bo Prabula to Austin Simmons. Because again, I'm not too high on Austin Simmons, but I am high on that run game they have there.
Yeah, I mean, Hardy's a stud, and if you don't have the run defense, that might just be a really, really long game for the Gators.
Yeah. Now, this is maybe the most interesting game on the schedule for me against South Carolina, because you're hosting them. South Carolina's coming off a bad season, just like us. If you're thinking Florida's going to be much improved or play to their talent level, this is a game you're kind of just picking Florida in to win. You're like, okay, Florida's going to win.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick us to win this game, but I think this is interesting because they return Lenora Sellers, who Lenora Sellers still has that it factor. Lenora Sellers has that AR ability to where he could take over a game.
You're not wrong, but that's just a hilarious, like, positive comparison to make for a player.
But it's not just AR. They go at the O-line pretty. I mean, they went after the O-line. I mean, their O-line was horrible this past year, but they went after the O-line in the portal. They recruit O-line. I mean, they recruited better than we have, honestly, over the past X amount of years. So it's solid, and they still have Dylan Stewart on that defense.
Wait, they do? He's coming back? Oh, I didn't realize
they kept him over LSU. LSU tried to get him.
For some reason, I thought he was drafted. For some reason, I thought he was drafted.
He was only a sophomore.
Okay, I guess he was. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So they have two big playmakers, and they could be solid in the trenches. So, like, I'm going to pick us to win this game, but, like, this is a game I'm probably a lot more worried about than some others are.
I'm not. I just am kind of out on Beamer. I don't really believe in that, and I think it's probably going to be kind of mediocre again this year. The only thing I will say is his whole run has been kind of cyclical, where they'll have a bad year and then come back and have a really good one. So if they follow that trend, they should have a pretty good year this year. I don't really believe that's going to happen, though. Like, I think if this were in Columbia, I would be a lot more concerned, but I think this is one that...
No, we played in Columbia the week before.
Yeah, true. No, but, like, I mean, because I think at this point, if you lose this game, I think you're probably looking at 4 or 5 losses at least. And I don't think that would be necessarily the year one we're hoping. Like 5 losses, certainly. No. I don't think would be the year one we're hoping for.
No. Next game, plus if you lose that game heading to Texas.
Yeah.
And
no bye either. Straight into it. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm going to have us being South Carolina. Then going to this Texas game. Texas is interesting because they had a very poor start to the transfer portal. Like, they were like the big losers of the portal for the first like 2 or 2.5 weeks of it. But then, they got 2 good running backs. I mean, they missed on Isaac Brown and Jaden Ball. But then they got Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smuggers.
Arizona State. Yeah.
Yeah. So they got both of those who were like, those would have been, I think they would have been like options 3 and 4 after Ball and Brown. But I think there's a pretty big gap between Ball and Brown and those guys. So there is that. And they keep Arch. They didn't portal O-line. I mean, they portaled I think they got one guy from Wake Forest, left tackle. And I think they got someone else back up from A&M. But what you were expecting Texas to do after how bad their O-line was this year, and what Texas money does, a lot more people I was talking to expected Texas to do a bit more here on the offensive line in the portal. And then they kind of sold out their entire receiving corps to get Cam Coleman. It's Cam Coleman and then, still Ryan Wingo. And then who else is back there?
Not because they lost Livingstone.
Yep. Yeah, they lost Livingston, lost French, and they lost DeAndre Moore. Went to Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. So
you might be right about that. I'm not positive.
I mean, Missouri got a decent receiving corps of Moore and the freshman I can't remember how to pronounce his name. There's an OLU. I'll leave that to Bob, the freshman, the recruiting. So
yeah.
Offensive lineman. But this is an interesting game. And the defense, they lose Anthony Hill, but keep Colin Simmons. Like, I mean, I assume Hill's going to the NFL draft. Like, he hasn't declared yet, but
You would assume, yeah.
with how good he is, like, it's an interesting game. But because it's at DKR and it's before the Georgia game, like, I'm gonna pick us to lose this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like sit here and say Florida can't possibly win a game like this, because I mean, Texas I think is gonna be good again. But like, I've been buying the Texas stock for 2 years. I bought the Texas stock; they were my national championship pick this year.
Mine too.
So I mean, I do think Arch actually did get better. I think Arch was playing pretty good at the end of the year. I actually don't really have a ton of Arch concerns going into next year. I think he will be good enough. I mean, I think, yeah, if this were in Gainesville, I mean, we saw a not very good Florida team beat these guys last year in Gainesville. So it's not like they can't do it, but I don't think I can, like, in good conscience, pick a win here in Austin, especially just considering what happened the last time Florida went to Austin.
I'll also say DKR isn't the best environment.
No, I've heard that. I knew some people who were at that game. I heard it was kind of mediocre.
I mean, just in Texas in general, like, it's kind of like the corporate sellout version of a 100,000 stadium. Like,
well, that's Austin.
It's a bit quieter. Yeah, so it's like it's at. I think what I'm getting at here is if it were at Florida, it would help Florida more. I think Florida. You know, it's like, what do you say? It's like a field goal swing with the home field advantage.
That's what they typically say. Yeah,
like Florida's probably a field goal, while Texas is maybe a point. Like, that's kind of how I think of that in my mind. So it's like, it's not that we're at Texas. It's the fact that it's not home. Like, I would pick Texas against us on a neutral field.
Yeah. I mean, I would still probably pick Texas if this was at home, to be honest, but I'd be more inclined to pick Florida. But I just, again,
I learned from history. Okay.
Yeah. I just like, I think this team could be pretty good this year. I think there's a lot of projection involved. I'm not going to sit here right now in January and be like, yeah, I think you're going to go beat Texas on the road. What's probably going to be a top 10? What's probably going to be a top 10 Texas team, just in all likelihood.
Yeah, probably.
Not guaranteed, but probably.
I still have some questions about them. But then we get a bye week before we have to travel to Atlanta and to play Mercedes-Benz against Georgia. This is interesting with Georgia, because I thought they were really starting to play well, and then they lost to Ole Miss. Trinidad ended up being a lot better. I mean, great in the playoffs, really.
Yeah.
And especially in that game in particular. So it's like Georgia they didn't play to what I thought they were. And, you know, they lose Zachariah Branch, who was probably their best offensive weapon this year. I mean, I thought Gunnar Stockton was fantastic. And they returned, and Gunnar Stockton likely returns.
He is back,
Okay, that's announced. Okay.
If it's not confirmed, it's like widely expected.
Yeah, I expect it at least. So yeah, I'm under a notion Gunnar Stockton's gonna be their QB, and they haven't portaled anybody. So, I think Gunnar Stockton's a great.
No, that's not true. They portaled the Oregon signee, but yeah.
Freshman. He's a true freshman.
Yeah, I mean it's essentially a true freshman, but that is technically a portal edition. But yeah. No, I mean it is. Like, it does count. It's different than Dallas. Like, it does technically count as a portal edition, but
it's the same. Okay. Yeah. But you know, it's semantics we're arguing here.
Yeah.
So I expect Gunner's gonna be there. And I think he's a great Georgia quarterback. The defense, did they portal some edge defenders in the portal? Did they get any edge defenders in the portal? Because that was their big weakness this past season. And I'm not, because I mean, Kirby doesn't really attack the portal that heavily. They got
a Morris Williams. That's really all they did.
Yeah, but he was the backup at Auburn as well. Like, he's good. I like Morris Williams. Like, I mean, he was behind some good players at Auburn, so that's not a bad thing, honestly. But they struggled. They got better at the end of the year, but they really struggled with their edge presence this past year, and it really hurt them. I say all this, I'm still going to take Georgia.
Yeah,
especially with this game. Here's the thing:
this is a de facto road game. Like,
yeah. I'll say this. I'm going to pick Georgia this year, no matter what. But if we go like 9-3, or, you know, have close games against Georgia this year, and we get them in Tampa, which hopefully is a de facto home game for us. Probably won't be, but
it might be. It might be better. It'll be better than Jacksonville typically is, I would think.
Yeah. Then I might be leaning to actually pick Florida next year. because it's kind of hard to pick Florida in this game until we see it.
Yeah, it's just like there's just no proof of concept. Like I mean, I just don't feel confident telling you. I mean, again, we don't even know. Like, it'd be one thing if Florida had like an incumbent quarterback. Like, if we were still bad last year, but like we had a good quarterback who was coming back, you could at least be like, well, I mean, you have that in place. I mean, I think Philo can be pretty good, but it's like he might not be. He started like 2 games ever. So, and one of them was against an FCS team. So, like, it's just hard to like sit here and say that Florida's going to go win these games. But like, yeah, I think you have to go lost there because I do think, yeah, they didn't really do a ton in the portal to get significantly better, but they just are still very talented. They're still loaded. Yeah, it's Georgia. It's Kirby. I'm sure they'll figure out the defense. And I mean, the defense was like, the defense took a step back this year. Like, it wasn't what we expect Georgia's defenses to be, but it wasn't like awful. I mean, it had a couple bad games. Like, it was bad again both Ole Miss games. It was bad in the Tennessee game, but they still won 2 of those 3 games. So,
yeah. All right. We both had Jocelyn and Georgia. Next game, maybe the most anticipated game for this season, getting to host Oklahoma. Like, this is probably your biggest home game. I mean, unless you're looking at Ole Miss.
Maybe Ole Miss. Maybe Ole Miss, but yeah.
And that's a matter
not as big as it would have been if you got Lane. If you got Lane, that's immediately the biggest home game. But yeah.
Yeah. But you get Oklahoma at home. Oklahoma keeps their offense, their entire offense, basically.
Yeah.
And that's a bad thing for them. So
yeah.
I'm not a John Mateer guy.
No, I'm not either. I was. I'm no longer.
Here's the thing. They didn't even portal like some big receiver transfers or offensive line transfers. Like, they're basically just running it back with a year of development and a year of continuity with the Ben Arbuckle. I think Arbuckle's a great OC.
Yeah.
I think they have some solid receivers. I think their QB needs to take a major step this year if he's going to be able to lead them to the playoffs again. I mean, they made the playoffs, so it's like you give them credit for that, but that's because of the defense.
Yeah.
They lose R. Mason Thomas. I assume Marvin Jones is probably also gone this year. Like, they lose their best defenders on the D line. They lose their safety, what's his name, who was really good. He's going to NFL. I mean, I'm assuming these guys are going to the NFL. I'm not 100% sure, but like, they're NFL players, so it's like I'd be shocked if they weren't. So it's like the defense replaces a lot, and it really carried them this past year. So I might pick us to win this game.
I am too.
Hey, I thought you were gonna. Okay, I thought this is one you were picking us to lose. To be honest.
No, yeah, this is like I like this. I like this as like the win that you may not necessarily expect. That's probably going to be a rank and spread upset. Like, I kind of see that win coming here.
It's the Hayden Hansen game.
Yeah, it's the Hayden Hansen game. That's true. Revenge spot. No, I mean, I think. Yeah, I just don't believe in the offense. I think you can always, even with the losses on defense, I think it's probably fair to assume they're going to be pretty good just because they have been. I think all but one of his years, they've been really stout defensively. But I think because of the offense on the road for them, like I don't think they're going to be able to like pull away. And I think this is kind of a hard fought, low scoring game that playing at home will give Florida the edge in. So yeah, I like Florida, especially coming off a Georgia loss, like kind of like if what I pick happens, I would say a semi disappointing start to the year. You'd be like 4-3, 5-3. I mean, that's not, I would say that's a little disappointing. I think this would kind of be a spot where you could kind of come out and turn the season around. I
like Florida this is a home game for Florida, Edwards. So I'm not sure if you're, but like, I like Florida to win this
Florida in the Oklahoma game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Oklahoma now has Rocky Beers at tight end, so can't sleep on. I mean, they got him, they got Hansen, they got the dude who dropped a pass against them against Oklahoma. He fumbled. It was a fumble or a pick, I can't remember. At tight end, like they got an interesting tight end room, and they also have Jaron Knack there still as well, 4-star guy. So interesting tight end room there at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Next, I mentioned this is a trap game before we started this segment here. Or maybe earlier when we started, I can't remember. Yeah. But I mentioned earlier, this is a trap game because I think I'm not too high on Kentucky, but it is at Kentucky. And Will Stein is a great offensive mind. So you can't take that away from him at all. Mentioning how well will he play this season? I don't know. They went and got some highly ranked portal offensive linemen, not too high in the receiving core, unless I'm forgetting somebody. The defense, I have zero clue. I don't know a single thing about their defense. I just kind of think it's going to be. I don't remember them getting any big portal additions. I mean, they lost more players than they've probably gained that are plus players.
And one of them is going to be starting in Florida, starting in Florida secondary next year.
I mean, they have Aaron Gates now and Jordan Castell. So,
that's true. Oh, I forgot that. Wait, I thought Castell went to Ole Miss. Did he originally commit to Ole Miss?
Denson went to Ole Miss. Denson, Ole Miss, Castell, Kentucky, and Gates, Kentucky. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He did. I could have sworn maybe you just remember. I just remember him taking a visit and just assumed he was.
He had 3 visits scheduled to Kentucky, Ole Miss, and LSU.
Okay,
I remember that. But this game's at Kentucky, Kroger Field. I mean, the fact that we're playing there back-to-back years just sucks. But I'm gonna take
emotional game for John Summerall.
Yeah, this is his emotional home.
Probably his first time back to Lexington since he coached there. I would think. I don't think he's been on a staff that would have gone and played a game there. So
no. Well, I mean, since he left there, he went from there to Troy.
Yeah, Troy. Yeah, I don't think he wouldn't have played there at Troy and Tulane. So yeah, the first trip back. So I mean, yeah, that's a big one for him. I'm sure he's going to be fired up to win that game.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's something that helps us a bit because I mean, Dan Mullen never really had those emotional fires about games. Like he was a good coach.
Well, Dan Mullen was a Yankee. Dan Mullen's from like New Hampshire or something like that. So,
that's true. But Dan Mullen is a good coach, and I mean, but then struggled at Kentucky or against Kentucky at times because the style of play got to him a bit. And then Billy Napier has took every game the same.
Yeah, for better or for worse.
For better or for worse.
Yeah,
it depends on who we're playing. And then here with John Summerall, it's someone that seems to have a lot more fire and emotion. And going back home, this is one he probably doesn't want to lose. So maybe that's something that comes into a factor in this yearly series against Kentucky. So I'm going to take us to win it. But again, it's Kentucky at Kroger Field has been a house of horrors for us. It's one that I can see us struggling with. But I am going to pick us to win it. Yeah,
I like Will Stein. I think he'll probably, whatever maximizing it at Kentucky looks like in the late 2020s, I think Will Stein will probably be able to do that. I don't really see that. Yeah, I just don't see this as a year one turnaround spot. Like, I just don't think the roster's in that kind of position. I think they're still going to be like a team that's fighting to make a bowl game. Obviously they, that wasn't a problem for them beating Florida this year. I think things are going to be different this time around. And like I said, it's an emotional game for Summerall. Like, he's going to be more fired. Like, normally you would say trap game if we're right about beating Oklahoma and then you immediately go on the road to play Kentucky. But I don't think this will be a trap game because it's going to mean a lot to Summerall. So like, I just don't see that happening. I think this is a win.
And I feel like there's a bit more hype around Kentucky because, Nick Anderson, I predicted Nick Anderson wasn't going to be that good this year and he wasn't. And they bring him in now from LSU, formerly of Oklahoma. And Jacaden Ferguson from Arkansas. I'm not too high. Kentucky got a bit of hype because they got Sam Leavitt for a visit.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they also brought a wide receiver in for a visit that they didn't get as well, but another big one. I think maybe DeAndre Moore it was, but they didn't land him. But they got some decent portal additions on the offensive line. They get Tegra to Shobola from Ohio State, higher ranked guy, not really proven, but they get Lance Hurd, who is third team All SEC from Tennessee.
Yeah, no, that was a huge pickup.
I know there's some stuff around that, like why he didn't go to a bigger school, but he was a third team All SEC player, so you get credit for getting him. So they got some solid players, but I don't know if their defense is what the defense is gonna look like, because during the Stoops era, the given was okay, they're going to play physical defense. They're going to lack talent, but they give teams like Georgia and us fits. So, but I don't know if they're going to have that mentality to them anymore.
No, it's going to be a very different style, Kentucky. I think, did he bring someone from Oregon with him?
Oh my God, it's Jay Bateman.
Oh my God, that's right.
They're going to be horrible.
Yeah, I don't love that.
I mean, I love it.
I mean, I don't love that like as an objective analysis of Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I mean, all their top portal guys like are on the offensive side. Like they're trying to build around Will Stein's offense. So, and I don't know if it's going to work with the guys they brought in. So I'm going to take it as a win, but it could be a spot where we're unexpected loss. Oh yeah, they also have CJ Baxter running back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, they had some nice pickups. I'm buying the long-term trajectory there. At least, again, like whatever the ceiling is at Kentucky these days, I think they'll probably get pretty close to hitting it. I like Will Stein a lot. I think it's interesting that he's not calling plays because I feel like if Florida, like the people that were like when they were mad about Summerall and were like just pivot to Will Stein. Like to me, the whole selling point with Will Stein would be like, well, at least you're getting like a
really it's like Lane doesn't call plays. Like I assume with something like that where Stein's gonna have a heavy influence.
Maybe.
Who is the OC? Who is calling plays?
I think I want to say he brought someone with it. I think he brought
Joe Sloan.
Oh, that's right. I feel like we talked about this on the show last
week. We definitely did.
Yeah.
Is it Joe Sloan like that?
I don't love that. I mean, I guess it depends on. I mean, look, he was the QB coach that like developed Jaden Daniels. You know, how much blame do you give him for the way the offense looked the last 2 years? I mean, I think like your mileage may vary on that. I don't necessarily think like being unsound scheme wise was their problem, but he did not do a very good job the last 2 years at LSU. So
no. Yeah, he was the LSU guy. That's right. Okay, that's why I remember.
They tried to scapegoat him. Like Brian, it seemed that's like right. for like a couple hours that they were going to fire him and scapegoat him, and Kelly was going to stay.
Yeah, but we're both taking Kentucky here, but it could be a spot.
No, we're taking
this Florida. Next game. Yeah, Florida. This next game. So Vanderbilt was second to worst defense in the SEC in a defensive adjusted efficiency. I don't think that's going to improve. They lose Diego Pavia. They lose Eli Stowers. Is Curtis going to start as a freshman? Probably.
I think that's the expectation.
They bring they got a good transfer receiver who's someone we were looking at, I'm pretty sure as well. Like one of our backup options if we didn't get Singleton. Let me try to figure out who it was because I'm just completely forgetting SEC. I mean, here I'm looking at it right now, and they had honestly, this is probably a new career high for Vanderbilt. It's all because of Curtis, the third worst recruiting class in the SEC, above Kentucky and Arkansas. I mean, that's probably better than what they normally get, so good for them. But they bring in the receiver. They bring in Ja'Cory Thomas from Old Dominion, who was someone who visited here. That's why I remember him. So like solid guy there, but I don't think unless Jared Curtis is just, he's the top ranked QB in the class for a reason, but he's no Pavia. They don't have no Stowers. Is there some Clark Lee magic?
I don't like this one actually. I don't like the placement of this as the last game of the SEC season. No, this probably isn't a very smart pick because I think Florida will be a better team this season than Vanderbilt is. I feel like there might be some Clark Lee magic here, especially like you beat Oklahoma and Kentucky down the stretch. You're at least on the periphery of the playoff at this point. If you're 7-3, I mean, you're probably ranked in the top 15-ish. I mean, and you're like, man, if we just take care of business these last 2 weeks, we might be in business potentially at least. I'll say that I think there's a fourth loss here on the schedule. I think it's this one or Missouri, and I'm kind of inclined to go this one.
Okay. I can respect that a little bit, but like maybe it's one of those things where Curtis struggles to start, but gains his footing and gains confidence throughout the year. And Florida coming off back-to-back wins, and maybe you're kind of sleeping on Vandy and before your rivalry game against FSU.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. It is at home. If this were on the road, I would be even more worried.
What if you swapped the Vandy and Kentucky game places? And so you have back-to-back home games of Oklahoma Vandy, but then you play at Kentucky.
I would probably maybe be more worried about Kentucky in the Kentucky game in that situation. But yeah, I mean, again, this is not as much like I think Vandy's gonna be a better team than Florida. This is just context of the season, and if I'm right about the other games, where you would be and kind of where your headspace would be, feels kind of like a trap. Feels dangerous.
I just think we're going to be too physical.
We might
Vandy
be.
And
But like, I'm
too
curious. We
talented.
didn't play them either of these 2 years where they were pretty good.
No.
I'm curious how that would have gone if we did.
That's a interesting point there. But like, I mean, I mentioned their defense was the second worst in adjusted efficiency, and they lose their 2 good players on that offense. I mean, and their running back, did they return him? He was pretty good. I think he was a senior though.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, not that really affects my prediction here.
Yeah.
And then to end the season at FSU, Ashton Daniels is their quarterback.
And Mike Norvell is not going to be their coach in this game.
Ooh.
That's like easy. If you offered me a prop on that, I would bet that no questions asked right now.
Like, you don't think they give him till the end of the season? You think he's gone? Let's look at FSU schedule. Tell me when he's gone.
Probably gone. I think he's probably gone by then.
Here, I'm pulling up FSU schedule for the 2026 season. Oh wait, no, they haven't made their schedule yet, have they? Oh no, it is.
What?
It is. Sorry. Wait. No, that's 2020. I don't think the ACC's released your schedule. Like, I think they have the opponents. Yeah. The only 2 games that are officially set are Florida. So they start the year against someone else. They play Bama week 3. Oh wait, no, I looked up 2025. Yeah, no, okay, so their conference play isn't set.
Like, not even opponents?
The opponents are set. So here, okay, I'll read off their opponents here.
Yeah.
So they start the year off against New Mexico State at home.
Yeah.
That's a win.
I mean, yeah.
1 second. Do they play 9 conference games? They do? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So then they have a game.
No, they play 8. They play 8.
Oh, wait, so they still have a game to schedule. Oh, wait, no, that's 4. So week 2, they either have a bye week or a conference game. And then week 3 at Bama, week 4 against Central Arkansas, and then the last game of the season against us. Are you saying 2-2 in those 4 games?
Yeah, they're going to lose to Bama, and I don't know if we've officially made picks yet, but I am picking Florida to win that game.
Yeah, I am too. So here's your conference schedule at Boston College.
Win. Should be a win probably, but I don't know. Boston College is probably gonna be really bad, but
home against Clemson.
It's a loss.
Home against NC State. They return the quarterback who we thought was
CJ Bailey should be a loss.
It is Dave Doran though, so I don't know.
It is Dave Doran, but I still think that should be a loss.
Home against SMU, loss.
I think that's also a loss, yeah.
Home against Virginia.
Loss, I think.
Who's Virginia's QB? I know they brought someone in.
Yeah, they did. Who did they bring in? Prabula, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's Prabula.
Sounds right. Yeah. Position.
Which I like that actually.
And they brought Prabula and Eli Holstein.
That's true. I don't love Prabula as like an SEC starting quarterback. I think Prabula in the ACC is going to be a ton of fun. I think that's a good on a pretty solid team.
Yeah, I agree. I like that addition for them, to be honest. Okay. So yeah, you're calling it a loss. At Louisville, that's a loss.
Loss.
At Miami, that's a loss. At Pitt,
loss.
You just predicted them to go 1-7 in conference play,
dude. Yeah, what did they go? What they go this year?
They were what? They went 4-4.
No, way. Did they really?
No, they went 3-5 or 2-6.
The year before they were 1-7.
Well, yeah, because they only beat Cal. They beat Mendoza.
They did beat Mendoza. Yeah, they went 2-6. They went 2-6 in ACC play this year.
Yeah,
I don't think that's an outrageous prediction.
I
have them going 3-9, I guess, based on that.
I'll say so. I think they beat New Mexico, beat Central Arkansas, beat Boston College. I'm gonna say they beat Virginia and beat NC State. So that's 5-7.
That would be those.
Or is that 4-8? Wait,
really impressive.
Yeah, that's 5-7.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
No, that's
Dave Doran is a 6-6
you're counting
coach.
Boston College too. Yeah.
Dave Doran is a 6-6 coach, every year,
Yeah, but
basically, NC State.
sometimes he's an 8-4 coach is the thing. Sometimes he's an 8-4 coach.
But
He
one of those
averages
losses are
out
going to
to
be
a
a bad
6-6
loss.
coach.
And it's
Yeah,
at FSU.
that's
And
true.
Virginia, I don't trust Virginia yet.
They probably will win one of those games I just picked as a loss, but I think individually I don't like them in any of them.
But I mean, I think Boston College is going to suck, so that's just.
And point being, if it's end of November and FSU has 3 or 4 wins, yeah, I think he's gone. I think he's already gone.
That's fair. That is fair. I wonder who they play week 2. I wonder which game that'll be.
I think that's a bye because they play week 0. That's got to be a week 0, the August 29th.
Oh, they play week 0?
Yeah, they play because look at our schedule on the graphic. It's September 5th is that first weekend.
Oh.
So they play August 29th. They don't. They have a bye week 1 and then play Alabama week 2.
No, because week 2 is the 12th. They play on the 19th against Bama.
Oh.
And you only have one bye week. So they have New Mexico State week 0. And then
they must be throwing there must be a conference game in there week 1.
Well, yeah, it will be conference. I'll say which one is my question.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Boston College. They've done that to start the year before.
Yeah, because after week when they lost to Georgia Tech 2 years ago, last season, really.
Actually, yeah, it's true. They did that exact same thing. They played week 0 and then played Boston College 2 weeks later.
And lost to Castellanos. So like, hey, if you can't beat them, join them.
Or not 2 weeks later, the next week, right? That was week 1. I can't remember. Whatever.
Yeah, because it was week 1. They have bye week 2.
Yeah. Point being, they've done this exact thing with Boston College 2 years ago. So
yeah. Rob here, get back on track. Don't care if we lose to Vandy at home. Summerall is not it.
I mean,
because it's at home.
I mean, look, if we're 8-4 year 1, if we're 8-4 year 1, which I have, I'm not like super fired up. I'm willing to see how year 2 looks. I think that's not exactly what you would hope in this day and age, but I just think, it's the SEC and things are tough and losses are going to happen. And this team has some uncertainty. Like I'm not really going to draw conclusions about how I feel about Summerall based on this season, unless it's like one extreme or the other. Like if you're really bad, I'll probably be kind of out. If you're really good, I'll be like, okay, I think I'm ready to say this guy's a pretty good coach. But if it's in that 8-win mix, like if it's like 8-4, I think that's a hold. I think that's just kind of a wait and see how it trends in year 2.
Yeah, I was at 9-3, and it's like it feels a bit optimistic, but it's also like, I mean, you have to say 8-4, and that includes losing to home against the Vandy. So you're basically just picking us to go 8-4 because you don't want to pick us to go 9-3.
Basically, because I mean, I picked us to go 9-3 last year, and that was obviously wrong. So I think I need to hedge a little bit, and it's more as I think there will be. I kind of think there will be a 4th loss here somewhere because there's enough games that are tricky.
That's why I have us go from 10-2 to 9-3.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're both doing the same thing, just one game difference there.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's gonna be I think this is a fun schedule that gives you some easy, but also some tricky.
Well, because it's just been brutal the last few seasons, like to an extent that wasn't even fun because we weren't good enough for it to be fun.
Oh, the games be fun, but we keep losing.
Yeah.
Or I mean, they'll just be close, boring losses, like the LSU game where you throw 5 picks in a 10-point loss. The Miami game where it's a 6-point game, and you're at the 30. Like you could have won that Miami game. Like
I don't really.
The A&M game.
I feel a little differently about that Miami game, but yeah, we don't need to.
You're 30 yards away from having the lead in the 4th quarter with like 7 minutes.
But you weren't gonna do that because you couldn't do anything on offense in the game. So
the last drive you drove on them with ease.
Yeah. I don't know. We don't need to relitigate that, but point being, or the Miami game the year before, the Texas A&M game.
Oh, we had no chance in those games. No.
Yeah.
Those were over at half. I mean, in the 2nd quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a bit different, but no, but like, if we can find a way, what is that? 6? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you find a way to start 6-0 before that Texas game, it's possible. Like you could win all those games. We both have losing one game before Texas.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think that would be annoying. A 5-1 start and then finishing 8-4. That would be a disappointing way to end the year. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that'd be kind of like how when we started 6-4 year 1, and then lost to Vandy, and then lost to FSU in the Billy Napier era, and ended 6-6.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I think that's kind of what Rob is at here when he's saying Vandy. Like, we lost to Vandy year one after having some momentum and then finished 6-6. So it's like,
This is a
although Kirby
different Vandy,
Vandy year one.
but yeah. Yeah, Kirby did lose to Vandy year one. That's true.
That was also Vandy's best team before Clark Lee and before the coach before him, whoever was at Vandy. Oh, James Franklin was at Vandy since James Franklin.
Yeah, you're talking about 2016, the year they beat Kirby. You're talking about
yeah. Because I mean, they went 6-6, but like that was still their.
No,
best.
But that's good. That's good for Vandy. Like until the last 2 years, that's good for Vandy.
Making a bowl game is peak
Yeah.
entertainment for Vanderbilt football.
Literally.
And I mean, I remember that Georgia game because I think it was Zach Bond who made a stop for him on like a 4th and 1.
I vaguely remember that.
But no, I like if he was the Vandy, it would suck. But it's also like, how does Vandy look? Like that's the key.
I think
like,
I just expect it. I think they're still gonna be pretty good. Like maybe not great, maybe 7 wins kind of team, but I think they're gonna still be like in the mix, competitive. I really like that. I really believe in that coaching staff. I think they've got really good coaches, and I think they've got some money now. And I think they're here to stay. Like I think that program is bigger than Diego Pavia, but obviously we need to see it. We need to see that that's the case.
So I'm looking at their SEC schedule, and so I mean, let's see their schedule. Austin P and Delaware back-to-back start season. Those are wins. NC State at home. That's the Dave Doring game right there. Where I don't know what's going to happen. At Auburn. We both have Florida winning at Auburn, so then at Georgia's a loss. Ole Miss, I think Ole Miss is going to be bad. Like that's 50-50 for me. Arkansas, I think they could be Arkansas.
I don't really believe in Arkansas.
They basically have like the worst SEC schools, but then they also have like the 2 best and maybe 3.
Yeah.
Like, so because they have Auburn, Georgia, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Alabama, Florida, and Tennessee. I could see them going anywhere from like 4-8 to like 9-3 on the schedule.
I'd say probably 5-7 to 8-4 is like I think they'll be in that range somewhere.
All right, that's fair.
Which I know that's not like the most specific prediction of all time, but yeah.
Hey, we're predicting Florida's schedule, not Vanderbilt's schedule.
It's true.
But
we have now predicted 2 other teams' schedules that are not Florida in this segment.
While we're at it, let's just get Austin P done real quick.
Yeah, let's knock it out.
No, but it's a fun schedule. It's gonna be a fun season, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh man, but we just spent a long time predicting that. I mean, what was that? An hour?
Something like that.
45
minutes. The funniest part
is
we're probably going to do this at least 2 more times before a ball is kicked in September.
Well, a ball will be kicked during the spring game.
Since a ball will be kicked in a real game in September. Like, I mean, we might maybe just once, but I definitely think this is something we need to revisit later in the offseason when we have a little bit more clarity on just everything around us.
What more clarity do we need?
Spring practice, seeing who actually leaves. Like if we see mass portal movement, anyone, because rules aren't real.
Rules are a figment of our imagination.
Yeah. I mean, literally that. Like, yeah. Again, maybe that won't be a problem, but I would venture to guess. I mean, I think the Mensa thing will be kind of a canary in the coal mine about that. However,
because they're suing. Like, that's not even a done deal.
No, they're still, they're in limbo right now. He's in the portal, but he's not allowed to sign anywhere.
That's a weird thing right there.
Yeah.
What happens if they win, but then they don't reinstate him? He just can't play football.
Wait, what do you mean?
So, like, let's say Duke wins a lawsuit where he can't sign anywhere, but they don't sign him back from the portal.
Well, that's the thing. I think they want him to do that. Like, they want him to come back. I think is
I know they're like if they win, he's going to be coming back.
No, but it is awkward. Like, because I mean, the Damon Williams thing is awkward enough, but it seems like they kind of put that to bed before it got really ugly. This one is already full blown ugly, so I don't know. I mean, they
also entered the portal.
They are suing. Yeah, true. Yeah, Cooper Barkay. Yeah, so like they are suing each other right now. Like, who knows? But point being, I think that'll tell us, because if Mensa wins that, there's really nothing stopping these guys from just leaving in the spring, because they probably will. And
like, if you're able to beat Duke in court, like.
Yeah,
Although
true.
this is something that's not necessarily smart, like finding a minor loophole in something that we don't even know if it's a real contract. Like, who
Well, I mean,
knows?
also the courts can just do whatever they want. Look at the Charles Bediako thing. Like the judge basically just
Oh,
said,
yeah.
we don't believe in the NCAA's eligibility rules. Like we don't recognize them.
Well,
Essentially.
so James Najee, so it started with Najee, so it was the same thing with
Yeah.
Bediako. So I mean,
Except I don't think Najee forfeited his eligibility by staying in the draft. I think that was a different situation. I think there's something about
that's a
that
good point.
situation that makes it different. Because that's the biggest thing. It's not even that he signed because he never played an NBA game. He technically has signed an NBA contract. But to me, the biggest thing with Bediako is he left school to enter the draft and stayed in the draft. Like that, you forfeit your eligibility. That's always been the case.
Yeah, because Najee went straight to the NBA for.
Oh wait, I lied. He literally got drafted. Yeah, but he went out of high school or went out of international.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah, Najee got drafted. Like he's never played college.
Yeah, I don't really. I think, for some reason, I think that there's like a little bit of. I've seen people make the argument that that's a little bit different of a legal situation, or just not illegal, but just a rules situation than Bediako. Did you see? Speaking of Bediako, did you see what Tennessee tweeted last night? The Tennessee basketball team. They tweeted the final score graphic and they tagged a G League team and said, "We want you next," or something like that. Or like,
I did see that.
You're
that's
up
right.
next.
Oh, that's funny.
that was pretty good.
I was kind of off basketball.
Yesterday. It was a sad day for basketball.
Yeah, but no, thank you guys for watching a 2-hour long show here. So a good show. For y'all, we're gonna have a bit of scheduling conflicts the next couple for a bit now. So
yeah,
I got a new job and times are different. So probably not gonna do Sundays. Really gonna try Monday, and we'll keep you guys up to date. That's really the best I can say.
Stay tuned. We might be doing a few different days of the week here and there in the coming weeks as we figure out what works best. But we'll try to settle on something consistent that you can plan on.
We'll try. Yeah, we'll try to do that, but it's gonna be tough for us. But no, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We will see you guys next time, whenever that is. But as always, go Gators.